Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Spellslinger, and if you are new, please hit that subscribe button. We post daily Master Duel content ranging from deck profiles to replays to discussions, covering anything new that comes with Master Duel. The ranked season just reset, so we're gonna be grinding that as well. And I'm gonna have some awesome replays for you coming up here pretty soon. But today's video, I have a Dragon Link deck profile for you. It's gonna be pretty standard. If you are new to Dragon Link, then this is going to be an excellent way to get yourself just used to the archetype and getting into it. I want to stress with my deck profiles, my deck is not the end all be all. This deck and all decks are very customizable to what you want to do. There is no right, quote unquote, right or wrong way to play these decks. There is an optimal way that you can play these decks, but it is ultimately up to you how you want to play these decks, and we'll just get straight into it. I have replays for you at the end, so stick around. I'm going to be going in depth with my thought process on these cards, showing you a little bit about what the deck can do in the replays, and we'll just go from there. So hit the subscribe button. Like I said, daily Master Duel content, and we'll just hop straight into this deck profile. So let's get to it. So if you are unfamiliar, Dragon Link is a dragon-based archetype that plays an extraordinary amount of Link monsters, hence Dragon Link. So the main gimmick of this archetype is we want to use Rocket Tracer, use its effect to go into basically a free Synchro 8, whether that be the Chaos Ruler or the Borreload Savage Dragon to go into the Hot Red. We have lots of ways to get into further extension with things like Striker Dragon, adding our Boot Sector Launch, which is our field spell, which lets us extend further. We have lots of good interruption with things like Seal of the Heavenly Heretic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres, and just a ton of boss monsters that allow you to really end on powerful boards to disrupt your opponent going first. But really, this whole deck centers around this card right here, Rocket Tracer. Its effect lets you destroy a face-up card that you control and then special summon a rocket directly from the deck. And you typically want to target the Rocket Recharger because it's a 4 and a 4. The Rocket Tracer is a tuner, so you can go straight into a level 8. That being, like I said, one of these two, the Chaos Ruler or the Borreload Savage Dragon. But we'll get to those in just a little bit when we get to the extra deck. Now, one thing that I probably would consider is running Rocket Recharger at 2, just because if you draw this or if you mill it off of something else, then that's your one copy, and the effect of the Rocket Tracer does special summon directly from deck. It doesn't do hand, so that is something to keep in mind. If I were to change anything about the deck, I'd probably run Rocket Recharger at 2, but that's just something for you to think about as making your own deck with this. But we'll just hop straight into what I've constructed here. We are running one Effect Veiler, and we're running the Effect Veiler for a very specific reason and a very specific combo with the Chaos Ruler, with the Excavation and Dump. It's just a negation on your opponent's during your opponent's main phase. If you open it, going second, running one of the Rocket Synchron. It is a level 1 tuner, as well as the Effect Veiler. We use both of these as ways to go into the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. But it also has a fairly interesting effect where when it's normal summoned, you can target a level 5 or higher Dark Dragon monster in your graveyard and special summon it in defense position, negate its effects and destroy it in the end phase, and then you can't summon monsters from the extra deck except for dark monsters. So it's just a cool little extension for you, just to get into plays if you don't have any other plays. Hand trap lineup, pretty standard, running the 3 Maxi as well as the 3 Ash Blossom. The Maxi, just to show off a little bit, I was able to craft a normal, the glossy finish, as well as the royal finish, which kind of blew my mind. I crafted all of these. I didn't pull them. Would have been cooler to pull them, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. But just something cool that I thought I'd show. I have all 3 of the rarities of Maxi, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, but Maxi and Ash Blossom pretty standard for any deck in Master Duel. We're running one of the White Dragon Wyverbuster and one of the Black Dragon Collapse Serpent. These guys are opposites of each other. They can't be normal summoned or set. They have to be special summoned from your hand by banishing either a dark or a light monster from your graveyard. And then when either of them leaves the field, you can add the other one directly from the deck. And there's a cool combo that you can do with Chaos Space that allows you to return one of the banished, one of either the banished ones to the deck and draw a card, so just really good advantage for you there. And then this is an integral part of just the base combo, which we'll get into in the replay, so don't worry about that. But yeah, the Wyver Buster and the Collapse Serpent, really good must includes. They're not limited in Master Duel like they are in the TCG, so that is also something to keep in mind with this deck. So if you wanted to mess with multiple copies of these cards, you absolutely can. You just have to remember that you can only special summon them. You can only special summon them once per turn that way, and they can't be normal summoned or set. They have to specifically be special summoned. So just keep that in mind when you're messing around with that. The best tech card, in my opinion, is Fairy Tale Snow in this deck, for the reason that we have a lot of ways to get Snow into the graveyard with things like the Chaos Ruler, as well as the discarding effects of like Chaos Space and Starliege Seyfert, because thankfully Fairy Tale Snow is a light, and it'll make a little bit more sense when we get down to the Chaos Space. But what the Snow is such a good card in the replay. It shows just how amazing this card is. But if it's normal or special summon, you can target a face-up monster on your opponent that your opponent controls, change it to face-down defense position. Really awesome. And then if this card is in your graveyard, quick effect, you can banish 7 other cards from your hand, field, and or graveyard. Special summon this card. Not once per turn, not once per chain. It is just so good for extension, so good for, just getting in for extra damage. It's amazing. So the best tech card in this deck, and I assume one of the best tech cards in a lot of combo decks in general, is going to be Fairy Tale Snow. So just keep that in mind. We'll get into the replays and everything like that in a bit. Just really good card. We're playing the Rocket Tracer at 3. I went over this card a little bit, but quick effect, you can target a face-up card you control, destroy it, and then special summon a rocket monster from your deck. And then you're dark locked from your extra deck the turn you activate that effect, which is fine because for the most part, all of the basically all of our extra deck monsters are dark monsters, so we're not too worried about that. Rocket Recharger, like I said, I would probably bump this up to 2 and cut down on maybe a copy of the Boot Sector launch, but since we have Striker Dragon at 3 in Master Duel, I want to be running 1 more copy of the Boot Sector launch. I might cut the World Legacy Guard Dragon to bump it up. It's something to consider. This is a very it's a non-finalized version, and like I said, you can run this deck however you want. There's a lot of ways to play this, but the Recharger, if a dark monster you control that was special summoned from the extra deck is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, target one of the destroyed monsters, and special summon 1 dark monster from your graveyard with a different original name from the targeted monster, and then you can only use the effect once per turn. And then another effect, while you control a dark monster special summon from the extra deck, your opponent cannot target this card for attack. So just a little bit of recursion for you if your big boss monsters get destroyed. Just a really cool way to, protect and go into further plays from there. We're playing 2 of the Starliege Seyfert and 3 of the Chaos Space, but the Seyfert's a really good normal summon to have in the deck. I think I might consider cutting the World Legacy Guard Dragon to bump the Seyfert up to 3 and the Recharger to 2. Completely up to you, though. Just depends on how you want to play the deck. Seyfert's your really good normal summon. You can send any number of dragon monsters from your hand and or face-up field to the graveyard and add a dragon monster from your deck to your hand whose levels equal the total original levels of those monsters sent to the graveyard, and then you can banish this card from your graveyard and add a level 8 light or dark dragon monster in your graveyard and then add it to the hand once per turns. Really good. Send this. A really good combo that you can do is normal summon the Seyfert, send itself, and then add a copy of the Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, banish the Seyfert, and then special summon the Collapse Serpent. Collapse Serpent go into the Striker Dragon, Collapse Serpent add the White Dragon Wyver Buster, banish the Black Dragon Collapse Serpent to special summon the White Dragon Wyver Buster, go into Romulus, add field spell, you're off to the races. That's the basic combo that you can do. So really good normal summon in Starliege Seyfert right there. We are playing a little bit of a Dragon Maid package. We're playing 1 Chamber as well as 3 Dragon Maid Tidying. So the Chamber Dragon Maid, we're specifically playing this to add the Dragon Maid Tidying. If it's normal or special summon, you can add a Dragon Maid spell or trap from your deck to the hand. So you're going to be normal or special summoning this, adding the Tidying. Tidying says you can target a dragon monster you control and 1 card your opponent controls or in their graveyard and return it to the hand. So just really good bounce back on your opponent's turn. And then if this card is in the graveyard, you can banish it, target a Dragon Maid monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So just a really good resource loop for you right there. If Chamber is in the graveyard, banish the Tidying, special summon back out the Dragon Maid, the Chamber Dragon Maid, and then activate the effect to search another copy of the Tidying. So a really good resource loop for you right there. Playing 2 of the Absolouter Dragon. We send this off of Dragon Ravine, which you pitch a card from your hand, and then dump a dragon monster. And then when Absolouter is sent to the graveyard, you can add a rocket monster from deck to hand. So you'll add whatever you want, the Recharger, the Tracer. It doesn't really matter. But it's just a really good way to get to be able to make sure that you have rockets in your hand when you activate the Boot Sector launch to special summon rockets from the hand. So there is that. And then just another really good extension effect. If you control a rocket monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only do that once per turn that way. And then the main effect, like I was saying, if it's sent to the graveyard, you can add a rocket monster from deck to hand. So that's really good right there. We are playing 3 of the Noctivision Dragon, a really good extender. We play 3 of this. People were playing this at 2 for a little bit, but it's just really good, and you want to play this at 3. So the first effect doesn't really come up at all. It's basically just protection for face down monsters or face down cards, so it doesn't really come up all that often. But the main 2 effects here: if a dark dragon monster is special summoned to your field, you can special summon this card from your hand. So just really good extension. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard as link material, you can draw 1 card. So resource advantage as well as just extension, really good card to see, because we special summon a ton of dark dragons in this deck, as was seen in literally basically all of these main deck monsters we have here. So moving on, we have the 1 copy of the Chaos Dragon Levianeer, super good card. This deck really excels in late grindy games just because of how much this deck can bounce back even after having your board wiped and being set back a little bit. This deck is awesome, and with cards like this, you have to thank. So it must first be special summoned from by banishing 3 light and or dark monsters from your graveyard, and then when summoned this way, you can activate the effect based on what the types of attributes you banished for its summon. So if you only banished light, you can special summon a monster from your graveyard in defense position. If it was only darks, you can shuffle 1 random card from your opponent's hand into the deck. And then if it was a mix of both light and darks, you can destroy up to 2 cards on the field. So it's non-targeting destruction on that. And then if you choose to activate any of these effects on the summon, the Levianeer can't attack that turn, but it won't really matter. Levianeer is just really good. It's a really good card, really nice. So after that, we're playing 1 copy of the Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, a really good extender. You special summon this card from the hand by banishing 1 face-up dragon monster you control. And then you can, during your main phase, you can special summon a dragon monster from your hand or graveyard, except for Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, but we're only playing 1 copy, so don't worry about that. And then you can only use that effect once per turn. So again, just really good extension to be able to get out a link 2 or a higher link to go into big boss monsters at the end of the day. But it is just a 28. It is again, or not again, but it is a really big body, a 2800, and just really good there. So next, we're getting into the spells. Foolish Burial, super simple. Send a monster from deck to graveyard. Most of the time, that's going to be Absolouter, or you can also send the Fairy Tale Snow. Lots of really good things that you can send off of the Foolish Burial. You can get your Wyverbuster engine going. You can get your Chaos engine going. You can send Safer. You can send the Dragon Maid. It all depends on what the board state calls for, but there are a ton of good options for Foolish Burial in this deck. After that, the Chaos Space. I touched on this a little bit, but send a light or dark monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then add one light or dark monster that cannot be special summoned or set from your hand to, or from your deck to your hand, with a level from 4 to 8 and with a different attribute than that monster. So little bit wordy, little bit complicated, but basically what this means is that the only thing that you're going to be adding off of this is either the white dragon or the black dragon, or the Chaos Dragon Levianeer if you don't have access, or it's late game and you don't have access to your baby dragon, baby Chaos Dragon. So basically, if you have a light or a dark monster, you basically activate this, discard that light or dark monster, and then add the opposite attributed Wyverbuster or Collapse Serpent. So say you had a Dragon Maid in your hand and that's what you pitched, it's a dark, you would add the light Wyverbuster. So the effect on this is a little bit wordy, but once you know what the effect does, it becomes a little bit easier to digest. And then the second effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard and target one of your banished light or dark monsters that cannot be normal summoned or set, i.e. either the White Dragon Wyverbuster or the Collapse Serpent, or the Chaos Dragon Levianeer. Return it to the bottom of the deck and then draw one card. So just really good. Again, resource advantage. Churn through your deck to see the cards that you want to see, which is really good. We play this at 3. It's just a really good card to see in your opening hand to get your combo going. One copy of Dragon Ravine, we add this off of the Dragoonie Knight Romulus. The only effect here that we're using, I touched on it a little bit, but again, you discard a card and then send a dragon monster from your deck to the graveyard. So pitch any card in your hand. Like I said, a lot of this deck wants to be in the graveyard. You can pitch Snow, you can pitch literally anything that isn't doing anything in your hand. And then dump Absorrouter is the typical play to get your rocket engine online. But the Ravine is really good. Just another way to get your engine going and dump monsters into the graveyard. The other field spell that we're playing 2 copies of the Boot Sector Launch. All rocket monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense, and then you can activate one of these effects. Special summon up to 2 rocket monsters with different names from your hand in defense position. That's the main effect that you're going to be using. So typically, once you have Dragon Ravine, you dump the Absorrouter, you can add a copy of the Tracer. And then activate the effect of the Boot Sector Launch to special summon the Tracer from the hand. Activate the effect of the Tracer to pop the Boot Sector Launch, and then special summon a Recharger from the deck. And then you have a free level 8 Synchro, or you can go into a copy of Seals, or you can just, if you're going second, you can go into Unicorn and then Access Code Talker to OTK. Really easy, good plays to have there. And we're playing 2 of this because while Striker Dragon in the TCG is limited, we have it here at 3, so we play multiple copies of Boot Sector Launch just for grindy games, so we can continue to get advantage out on our field and go from there. The second effect of it is pretty cool, really good for grinding games. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, special summon rocket monsters with different names from your graveyard in defense position up to the difference. And then that's a once per turn. So if you have no monsters, your opponent wiped your board, and your opponent has 2 or 3 monsters, you can special summon 2 or 3 monsters to make up the difference in advantage there. So again, just really good advantage, and a really good advantage engine. World Legacy Guard Dragon. Here it is a reborn for a level 4 or lower monster in your graveyard. And then once per turn, this comes up with Guard Dragon Pisty and the LP if we had it and it was not banned. RIP LP. Whatever. World Legacy Guard Dragon. Once per turn, you can target a dragon monster you control and move that monster you control to another of your main monster zones. You can only activate that effect once per turn. We typically only use that with the Pisty, because with its effect to special summon a banished dragon, it has to be it has to be special summoned to a zone that 2 or more link monsters are pointing to. And that can be a little bit hard to achieve sometimes without the Guard Dragon moving the zones around, but we'll get to the extra deck in a little bit, but that's just what this is for, just really good extension. Quick Launch, another really good way to get your engine going. Special summon a rocket monster from your deck, but it cannot attack. Also destroy it during the end phase. This is not a once per turn. This is literally an E-Telly for the deck, and can get out multiple copies of monsters to get your plays going, or to add to an end board that is already cracked. Really good card. People were calling for this to be banned over LP, or in addition to LP, back when Dragon Link was like one of the best decks of the TCG format a couple months ago. But yeah, really good card. And then I already touched on the Dragon Maid Tidying. So this is the main deck. I want to reiterate again that this is not like the most optimal way to play the deck. This is not the best way to play the deck. Play the deck however you want to play it, okay? Yu-Gi-Oh! Is such a broad and expansive game that if you limit yourself to just copying, just net decking from a Yu-Gi tuber, then you won't have the most fun. And if you're only looking to be a little bit competitive, then, you know, play how you want. If you want to add copies of whatever, Regeki, Book of Moon, whatever it may be, then do it. It does not matter. So, but yeah, that's the main deck. We'll go ahead and get into the extra deck now. Alright, so getting into the extra deck now, we are playing 3 Synchros and 12 of the Link monsters. So getting into the level 8s, we're playing 1 Borreload Savage Dragon, 1 Chaos Ruler, 1 Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. So, Borreload Savage Dragon, probably one of the best boss monsters of the deck. This deck plays so many boss monsters, but the Savage Dragon is really good to set up turn 1, just to go into negation. If this card is Synchro Summoned, you can equip 1 Link monster from your graveyard to this card, and if you do, place Boral counters on this card equal to that Link monster's Link rating. So basically, let's say you have a Striker Dragon in the graveyard, special summon out the Borreload Savage, equip the Striker Dragon, it will gain 1 counter because Striker Dragon is a rank 1. And then it also gains half of the attack of that monster when equipped to it by this effect. So it will gain 500 attack, so you'll have a 3500 Borreload Savage Dragon with one Omni negation, because when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effects, you can remove 1 Boral counter from this card, negate the activation, and that's a hard once per turn. So really good card to have set up going turn 1. Chaos Ruler is a bridge to the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. The Chaos Ruler, if this card is Synchro Summoned, you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you do, add 1 excavated light or dark monster to your hand, and then send the remaining cards to the graveyard, and then you can banish a light and 1 light and 1 dark monster from your hand and or graveyard, except this card, special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field. So again, really good extension. But we play the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss as well as the Rocket Synchron and the Effect Veiler, just the level 1 tuners to go into it, because it requires a tuner and a non-tuner Dark Dragon Synchro monster, so that'll be your Chaos Ruler right there. But the Excavation effect is really good because our deck wants to have these monsters in the graveyard. The Snow, the Absorrouter, all of the Chaos stuff, it wants monsters in the graveyard. So this is a double whammy when it comes to just the advantage that it can give you. The Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, like I was saying earlier, it is really good. It requires a non-tuner Dark Dragon Synchro monster, which will be the Chaos Ruler. But quick effect, you can target a face-up card your opponent controls and negate its effects until the end of this turn. It's important to know that this can negate spells and traps that your opponent activates. It doesn't just have to be your opponent's monster's effects that it's negating. So keep that in mind when you have this on your board. And then when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target 1 tuner in your graveyard and special summon it in defense position. So again, just really good, even more advantage, and can really be good to close out a game and to go into more plays, getting into late grindy games. Getting into the links, we are playing 1 Guard Dragon Pisty. It's a level 4 or lower dragon monster as its requirement. And then you cannot special summon monsters except dragon monsters. During your main phase, you can target one of your banished dragon monsters that is banished or in your graveyard and special summon it to a zone that 2 or more link monsters point to. You can only use the effect once per turn, and you can only special summon 1 Pisty per turn. So we pair the Pisty with the World Legacy Guard Dragon. Typically, we would have a Spheres and then go into the Pisty off of that. So we would need to use the effect of the World Legacy Guard Dragon to move the Pisty over one monster zone to the right, so that both the Spheres and the Pisty are both pointing to a zone. And then we can use the effect to basically just get more advantage going there. But Pisty is a really good extender option if we do have the World Legacy Guard Dragon to pair with it. Striker Dragon, like I've touched on it a little bit in the profile, but Striker Dragon is at 3 in Master Duel, and we take full advantage of that. We're playing it at 3. If it's Link summoned, you can add a Boot Sector launch from your deck to your hand. You can target 1 face-up monster you control and 1 rocket monster in your graveyard. Destroy that monster, and if you do, add that other monster from the graveyard to the hand once per turn. Playing the Striker Dragon at 3 when we play the Boot Sector at 2. If one of them gets ashed, we can go into a grindy game and just keep going into Striker Dragons for recursion, as well as adding the Field Spell, which we have gone over is really good extension to go into the Rocket Tracer plays to get out your Synchro Engine. So playing that at 3. We're playing 2 of the Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. It's 2 dragon monsters as the summoning requirement. Once per opponent's turn, if this card is in the extra monster zone, quick effect to contribute 1 monster from your hand or field, return 1 face-up card on the field to the hand. So really good interruption. And then if this card is tribute, you can special summon a dragon monster from your hand or deck and make its attack and defense 0. You can only use the effect once per turn. So typically the good play here is to go for the effect to tribute itself on your opponent's turn, and either get out a Tracer, or you can get out the copy of the Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, and then follow up. You can use the effect to summon out more monsters, and then just go from there. This deck is really good in grindy situations, so just really good playing the two of the spheres to go into the grindy games. Playing 1 of the Dragoonity Knight Romulus. The only relevant effect here is that when it's summoned, you can add the copy of Dragon Ravine, and we've already gone over what that does. And then typically you can use the effect of the Borreload to go in to equip the Romulus to give it 2 negations instead of just the 1. We're playing the Quad Boreal Dragon. This is a really good inclusion in the deck. You can discard a card, target a face-up monster on the field, and you cannot special summon Link 2 or lower monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, but destroy the targeted monster. Then if it was a Link monster, you can special summon any number of rocket monsters with different names from the hand or graveyard up to the Link rating. So Quad Boreal Dragon, activate the effect, target itself typically, and then you can get out a copy of the Tracer as well as the Recharger or the Synchron. Activate the effect of the Synchron or the Tracer to again go into a free level 8, or if you've already used the effect of the Tracer that turn, you can just get out a copy of the Recharger and still go into a level 8 Synchro play. Last couple cards in the extra deck, Nightmare Unicorn, super simple. When it's summoned, you discard a card and spin back a card on your opponent's side of the field, or just on the field in general. Really good card. But we use this in tandem with the Access Code Talker to really push for OTK plays. Access Code Talker, really good. When it's summoned, target a Link monster that was used for its summon, and then it gains 1,000 attack up to that monster's Link rating, and then you can banish Link monsters with different attributes once per turn. One attribute once per turn, if that makes sense. So if you have a water and let's say you have 3 Link monsters in your graveyard, 1 Link and 1 dark and 2 light, you can banish the dark and a light, but you can't banish 2 lights in 1 turn. And then you can target cards that your opponent controls and destroy them. Really good card, really good for OTK. We're playing the Borreload Dragon as well as the Borrelsword Dragon. You can cut the Borreload Dragon for something else. You can play like IP Masquerena or something like that. I just pulled both of these when I was pulling packs for this deck, and I just thought I'd include them. But the Borreload Dragon, it is neither player can target this card with monster effects. Once per turn, quick effects, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field. It loses 500 attack and defense, and then your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. And then at the start of the damage step, if this card attacks an opponent's monster, you can place that opponent's monster in a zone this card points to. So really nice, really good way to just steal your opponent's monsters and then just go from there. Borrelsword Dragon, again, just really good for OTKs and going into like late grindy games. Can't be destroyed by battle. Once per turn, quick effect, you can target an attack position monster, change it to defense position. Also, this card can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn, and your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. Once per turn, when this card declares an attack on a face-up monster, you can activate this effect until the end of this turn. This card gains attack equal to half of that monster's current attack, and if it does, that monster's current attack is halved. So use the effect, change to defense. It can be any card, and then just make a second attack, siphon off the attack. Really good for OTK play. So that is the deck that I have constructed. I hope you have enjoyed the deck profile. Stick around. We are going to be hopping into a couple replays to showcase what the deck can do, as well as how powerful Fairy Tale Snow is in this deck as a tech. So I am Spellslinger. I will see you guys in just a second with the replays. Alright, so jumping into this first replay here, I have 3 replays total for you. The first 2 are a little bit short, but the main focus of this deck is to really just show what the deck is capable of, and then the third replay is the really good replay that shows what Fairy Tale Snow can do, and just it was a really interesting game that I'm probably going to upload in a separate video tomorrow, just because it was that cool of a game, just showcasing what this deck can really do getting into a late grindy game. But getting into this here, our opponent is playing like an Exceeds Automata deck. They're going to activate the Automata pickup to add the copy of the Automata Pyra. Activate the effect of the Automata Pyra. We will, in response, chain the Ash Blossom, and that will resolve. Thankfully, we don't want them getting that much advantage, so they are going. That is going to be resolved negated, and they will just scoop. So. This deck really didn't get into any plays. I just thought it was really funny that they scooped right after their Pyra got ashed. So we'll get into a second one. Alright, so getting into the second replay right here, we are going first. So we open pretty nice here. So what we are going to do, we are going to activate the effect of the Chaos Space and pitch the Rocket Synchron. Add the copy of the White Dragon Wyverbuster. Wyverbuster effect is going to banish the copy of the Rocket Synchron to special summon itself. We're going to use the Wyverbuster as material to go into the Striker Dragon. Striker Dragon effect, and then chain the effect of the Wyverbuster to add the Black Dragon Collapse Serpent. Collapse Serpent effect will banish the Wyverbuster to special summon itself out. And then we're going to use the effect of the Chaos Space to return the Wyverbuster to the deck and draw a card, a Noctivision Dragon. That's awesome. Now we're going to link to and do a copy of the Dragoonity Knight Romulus. And because we used the effect of the Chaos Space to return the Wyverbuster to the deck, what we can do now is the effect that lets you add the baby Chaos Dragons is not a once per turn, so we can activate the effect of the Collapse Serpent to add back the Wyverbuster to hand. So that's pretty cool. We're going to activate the effect of the Ravine, pitching the newly added copy of the Wyverbuster to dump the Absolouter. Absolouter effect is going to add the copy of the Tracer, and then we're going to activate the effect of Quick Launch here to get out a copy of Tracer. Noctivision Dragon is going to summon itself out. We're going to activate the copy of the Boot Sector Launch to special summon out the Tracer. And now we are going to go into a copy of Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. Activate the effect of the Noctivision Dragon to draw us a card. Rocket Tracer effect is going to special summon out the Rocket Recharger, and then we're going to synchro into a copy of the Borreload Savage Dragon. Borreload Savage Dragon effect will equip the Dragoonity Knight Romulus. Normal summon the Starliege Seifert to go into a copy of the Chaos Ruler. Chaos Ruler effect to excavate here, and we will hit another Rocket Tracer. That's going to be really good for follow-up. So we're going to add the Tracer to hand, dump the rest to the graveyard, and then we will turn change here. So we have a Heretic Seal bounce on our opponent's turn, as well as an Omni Negate. Not the worst thing in the world. We can definitely end on a better board if we were able to open like our Dragon Maid engine. I think there was probably a different play that I could have taken with the resources that we had, but I didn't see it in the moment. And if you do see something a little different, definitely let me know. I'm fairly new to this deck, so don't roast me too hard if I did miss something fairly obvious. But we're going to pass it to our opponent, and they are playing Virtual World, so they're going to activate the effect of the Kowloon to activate a Chuche from deck, activate the effect of the Lulu, and this is going to be met with our Borreload Savage Dragon. We don't want them to get the advantage, and we do still have an interruption in the form of a bounce on our opponent's turn. So the Lulu will be negated. They're going to set one card and activate the effect of the Lao, targeting the Chuche, summoning itself out. Normal summoning the Lulu. Battle phase, they're going to try to attack over our spheres, which we will activate in response. Activate the effect of the spheres, and then they will scoop. So again, just a shorter type of replay here, just showing what like a basic combos are for the deck. But we'll go ahead and get into the really interesting replay now. Alright, so this game was so much fun. It went right down to the wire. I hope that you enjoy how this game ended up playing. So we are going first, and we're going to add normal summon the Safer, activate the effect sending itself to add the copy of the Collapse Serpent. Collapse Serpent will summon itself out, banishing the Safer. We're going to link summon out the Striker Dragon effect, and we're going to chain the Collapse Serpent. Collapse Serpent will add us a copy of the Wyver Buster, and then the Striker Dragon will add us a copy of Boot Sector Launch, so just lots of advantage here. Gonna normal summon, or we're gonna special summon the Wyver Buster by banishing the Collapse Serpent. We're gonna activate the effect of the Dragon Ravine, sending Tidying to dump a copy of the Abserator Dragon. Looking back in hindsight, I probably should have dumped something else just to keep the Tidying in hand for continuous follow-up, but it didn't end up playing out that way, so we'll just continue on here. Abserator Dragon is going to add as a copy of the Rocket Tracer, and now we are going to do a field spell swap. Boot Sector Launch effect will summon us out the Tracer, and now we are going to go into a copy of the Spheres. Super good card here. Activate the effect of the Tracer to pop our field spell to get out a copy of the Recharger, and here is where I went a little bit high rolly, and looking back, I should have gone into Borreload Savage here because I forgot that I already used my normal summon, so even if I did get a copy of the of one of our level 1 tuners to go into the Hot Red, I wouldn't have been able to, so a little bit of a misplay on my part here, but we are going to go ahead and activate the effect to Excavate, Noctivision Dragon, and then I think that is all we hit. So yeah, we're going to add the copy of the Noctivision Dragon here, dumping the rest of the cards to the graveyard. Chaos Space to return the Collapse Serpent, and then draw Fairy Tale Snow. This is the best tech in this deck. It is so incredible. And our opponent is playing Eldritch, so they are going to activate the Cursed Eldland, and then go for Pot of Prosperity. And here is another kind of misplay on my part. I ash the Prosperity. I just don't know if I didn't realize that they didn't already activate the Cursed Eldland, but I definitely should have saved it for that. But at least they're off that type of advantage. So they're going to add a copy of the Hawkera, which told me that they already had the Eldritch in hand, which is okay. So they are going to send our Chaos Dragon, so many effects of this goofy lord. So Eldritch plays, they're going to summon out the Eldritch, and then the Cursed Eldland effect is going to dump a Conquistador. Battle phase, they're going to try to attack. We're going to activate the effect of the Spheres to bounce back the Eldritch, and then Spheres effect is unfortunately going to be ashed. So definitely not the best play that we could have done there, but we are just going to do what we can now. So they are going to pass turn with a set card, and they, in the end phase, they are going to banish Hawkera as well as the Conquistador to set some cards. So Hawkera is going to set them a copy of the Elixir, Scarlet Sanguine, and then the Conquistador is going to set them a copy of the Black Awakening. So they're going to pass with three set cards, and we are going to draw for turn the second copy of World Legacy Guard Dragon. I wish it was something else, honestly, but just the way that it goes sometimes. So Chaos Ruler is going to special summon it out by banishing a Light and a Dark. We're going to get out the Chaos Ruler, and then activate the effect of the Noctivision to summon itself out. Activate the effect of the World Legacy Guard Dragon, getting the Rocket Tracer back out, normal summoning the Snow, and they flip the Skill Drain. Unfortunate for us. So we're going to activate the effect of the Rocket Tracer in response to the activation of the Skill Drain, just so we can get as much advantage as we can while we can still activate our monster's effects. So Rocket Tracer is going to they're going to activate the effect of the Sanguine in response to the Rocket Tracer. So they're going to summon out the copy of the Eldritch the Golden Lord in defense position. Rocket Tracer is going to pop our World Legacy Guard Dragon to summon out the Rocket Synchron, and we're going to go into a copy of the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. Battle phase, we're just going to attack over this copy of Eldritch and get in for as much damage as we can here. I could have gotten in for a little bit more if I would have gone into a link play with these with here, and then getting out Snow from the graveyard again, but you know, it is what it is. So we go into a copy of the Quad Boro. The only reason here is we want to get Noctivision into the graveyard to activate its effect in graveyard to draw a card, because we just need to find an out to Skill Drain or a Hand Traps just to keep our opponent off of as much advantage as possible. So we're not really looking to get anything done with the Quad Boral, just trying to get Noctivision into the graveyard to draw the card. So we're gonna draw Rocket Tracer, no interruption, unfortunately, so we're just gonna have to watch our opponent play Eldritch, unfortunately. So they're gonna activate the effect of the Eldlixir, chain the effect of the Scarlet Sanguine to set. Sanguine is going to set a copy of Golden Land Forever. Activate the effect of the Eldlixir to special summon an Eldritch from the graveyard, I think is what that is. Hand, okay. Activate the effect here to send the Golden Land Forever, and then summon out the Eldritch from the graveyard, and they are going to get in for a bit of damage here. So battle phase, they're just going to get over our copy of Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, unfortunately. End phase, they are going to just pass it back to us, and we are going to see what we can do here. So we draw Noctivision for turn. That's pretty good just for advantage sake. And we're going to activate the effect of the Guard Dragon, getting back out the Tracer, and the Noctivision will activate in hand, but they have the Ice Dragon's Prison set for us. So they're going to activate the effect to summon out our own Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. It's kind of it's debatable on whether or not they should have just kept the Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, just because it was a huge body to have on field, but they go ahead and activate the effect to banish both. And then since we use the effect of the Noctivision, we can special summon it out, and now we are going to just link into a copy of the Boral Sword Dragon just as a bigger body on field. Noctivision effect just to draw deeper, another Noctivision, not the worst thing in the world, and we go ahead and decide to not attack, just because if we let Eldritch get into the graveyard, then they'll be able to just get it back out even beefier. So just wanting to stall right now. Draw phase, they're going to activate the effect of the third Eldritch in their hand. Unfortunate. So Eldlixir effect in chain to the effect is going to get them a set copy of the Conquistador. And then Eldritch effect is going to send our monster, and they are going to get in for a ton of damage here, unfortunately. Main phase 2, they are going to activate the effect of the Eldritch in the graveyard. They could have done this a little bit differently, I think. If they would have just done this in main phase 1, then they probably could have just gone for game, still sending the skill drain. Unless I'm missing something, I'm pretty sure they probably had game on board here if they would have summoned out the Eldritch, the third copy of Eldritch in the main phase 1. But from here, they're just gonna go into a copy of the Super Dreadnought. I don't know if maybe they just didn't realize that this effect only did 2,000. But they have lots of follow-up. They have two Conquistador set with a face-up boosted Eldritch. Let's see what we can do through a boosted Eldritch, a 3,000, and 2 pops on our turn. Let's see what we can do. So we draw Max C for turn. I know that they have 2 set copies of the Conquistador in their spell and trap zone. So what I end up doing here is, since I drew the Max C for turn, I go ahead and activate the Max C to try to bait out one of them, because I assume that they don't want to give me advantage. So they're going to activate the effect of one of them. Thankfully, that was what I was going for. So they activate the effect of the Conquistador, which will burn 1, which is awesome. So they're going to activate the effect here to destroy the World Legacy Guard Dragon. Now we're going to activate the effect of the Fairy Tale Snow to banish 7. To special summon out the Snow, and we can activate the effect here to set the Golden Lord, which effectively turns their second copy of Conquistador off, which is awesome. So from here we can play unimpeded. Since they sent their own skill train, we can now go into plays. So from here, we're going to activate the effect of the, activate the effect, normal summon the Tracer, go into the Striker Dragon, activate the effect of the Noctivision Dragon. From here, we can go into a copy of the Dragoonity Knight Romulus, just to get the Noctivision and Noctivision into the graveyard to draw an additional card. Now we can go into a copy of the Nightmare Unicorn, and then once again, use the effect to spin a copy of our the Gustav Max, just clearing up their board a little bit. Now we can go into another copy of Snow to get out Snow, And then from here we can go into a copy of Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker effect targeting the Nightmare Unicorn to give it the attack boost, effect to banish the Romulus, to destroy their other copy of Conquistador, since they would have been able to just summon it when we went into an attack. We want to clear up all of their monsters on board. Effect again to destroy the set Eldritch, and then from here we can activate the non-once per turn effect of Fairy Tale Snow to summon out another copy of the copy of Snow again, attack into the Conquistador that they summoned earlier in the turn, and then from there we can just swing in for game. This was an absolutely insane match. I made a couple misplays. I think that they may have missed lethal earlier in the turn, but this last turn was so crazy that I had to include it in the replays for this deck profile. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this deck profile, how you would run it differently. Let me know if I missed any plays within the replays that you saw. I have been Spellslinger. Until next time, I will see you later. Have a great day.